Okay, we are recording. All right, today's question comes from Stephen Myers of Los Angeles, California. How did you get started in audiobooks? I know that you have said you get a lot of work from ACX. I'm auditioning there, but I'm not booking a lot through there. Do you exclusively audition through ACX, or are there other sources? I know that a lot of VOs don't like to share exactly where they are getting their work. That is a great question, Stephen. Um, yeah, I know a lot of voiceover folks do not like to share the secret recipe of their sauce. Um, I don't know how I feel about that part of it. I get it that I know, like, my mentality sometimes is not sharing is because, yeah, do you want the crowds going there? If you found, it's almost like when you watch Deadliest Catch and you see they find their little honey hole. They're not going to tell everyone where they're fishing, right? So I kind of get that, but I know it's also one of the biggest frustrations, right? That I know it's one of the biggest frustrations that I had when I started was where to find the work and no one really wanting to say exactly where. Um, so, um, okay, but how did I get started? It was through ACX. I did all my I when I was doing my Google searches, I found ACX and I really liked it. So I started auditioning through there. Um, I know you said you get a lot of work from A6. I'm auditioning there, but I'm not booking a lot through there. Okay. So first thing I'll tell you is do not get frustrated. Um, it doesn't. Being in voiceover takes patience. That's just the way that it works. I was lucky that I got off to a quick early start, but I also made a lot of mistakes right off the bat. Um, but it's not like I started and it was immediately this was my full time job. So that's the first thing to keep in mind. Don't worry about that. But okay, but if you're auditioning and not booking, the first thing I would say is look at or listen to your auditions and have someone else listen to your auditions. That's going to be immensely helpful because it's really hard if you don't know what you don't know. You can't fix if there's something that's not great about your auditions. Is the sound perfect? Is there something about the way you're narrating, or is it just the that you're the wrong voice for the project, or not the right voice for the project? Rather, um, that's the whenever I'm doing my private coaching with folks, I'm telling them there is so much that is subjective about doing voiceover work that we can only put the odds in our favor. That's the only thing we can do. We can limit our exposure to not getting a job by making sure that all the things that might eliminate us from contention we have gotten rid of. So that means making sure your sound is 100% on point. That's the biggest thing. And by sound, I mean just the quality of your recording. Are there external sounds floating around in there? Are there, can you hear the cars driving by? All of that stuff. That's the only hard and fast cardinal rule I think of voiceover. But is it that are you narrating too quickly? Are you mispronouncing words? Are things not enunciated enough? Are you over enunciated? Are you just not connecting with the material? There's a whole bunch of things that you can do that'll put the odds in your favor. But I would say, yeah, if you're auditioning one, keep on keeping on. I mean, the fact that you're even trying is awesome. But have someone else listen to it. Someone who can be objective. So someone is not a friend. Um, that way they can just be objective. And it might just be that you're doing everything perfectly fine and you just have not been the right voice for the project. And if that's the case, just be patient with it. Do I exclusively audition through ACX? I'm trying to get through all the questions here. No, I don't. When I started, yes. I think ACX is a great place to start for for doing these auditions, for finding projects. I really do. I think it is a great site to get started off on. And what I especially like is that there's royalty share that you can use. And because I felt like the first few that I auditioned for were royalty share projects because I felt like if I completely sucked at it and completely borked up the project, at least the author wouldn't be out any money. That's honestly how I looked at it. I felt like um, I didn't want to have the pressure of accepting money for a project and not having it turn out as a quality thing. Um, But yeah, once I got around 30 or so, I'm trying to remember what the number was. I don't honestly, I don't remember. It might have been closer to 50. Somewhere between the 30 and 50 range of how many books I had done, how many projects I'd completed. I actually started reaching out to production studios, to places that do audiobook production, because at that point I felt like I had worked out all the kinks of my own production process, which is a really important thing for making it sustainable. And I had also done enough. I felt that when I reached out to those companies, um, that they knew I had a track record. They knew that authors kept coming back to me. I had a lot of repeat clients. So the pressure was off on them to make that decision to say yeah. Um, so when I got around there, and as I said, it was probably closer to 50 books. Maybe it's 40 to 50. I don't know, and I wish I could be more specific. But then I started reaching out to places like Tantor and Recorded Books Media. Those are two that I work with now. Now, I will say that the one I got through Recorded Books was actually I was through networking. It was through it's a funny story. It's actually someone I knew. Yeah, okay, I've told the story before, but I'll tell it again. So when I got my demos done, when I had my narration and commercial demos, I knew, okay, now I could do my full court press. I'm going to go out and market the hell out of this. And I had seen a video that had a really good idea, and it was go into your phone, text every single person in your contacts, and say to them, I just started doing voiceover. Do you know of anyone who might need those services? Right? And it wasn't anything like, oh, do you need my service? It was, do you know of anyone? And one of the people that I texted, I got a bunch of responses, but one of the people that I texted, her name was Neen James, or is Neen James, she's still around, and she had wrote back to me. And we had worked together, man, many years. I'd met her many years ago when I worked for a local newspaper. And she had said, yeah, I'll introduce you to this guy that helped me when I narrated my own audiobook when she did her project. And she made the introduction, and here the dude that she introduced me to was someone I knew in middle school. We had gone to middle school together. We were friends. I was at his bar mitzvah. So it was kind of an interesting small world that she reintroduced me to someone that I hadn't spoken to in, man, probably 25 years, thereabouts, something like that. So that was kind of nice. But Tantor, I had reached out to him on my own. So yeah, so I don't exclusively do work through ACX at this time. And I do think it's a good idea to spread the love. But yeah, that's someplace you can look at as well. There are other places where people are posting audiobook projects. You can find them. I'm sure there's some of the other gig sites. Not a huge fan of them, but that's okay. But you can find them there. ACX I just find is like the best site for that. So, but yeah, that's where I will gladly share that is where I'm getting my work. And because of my track record, now a lot of times the projects are being, no, they're not being handed to me. I don't want to admit that sounds really pretentious. But because I have a reputation with the companies I work with, they'll approach me with projects. So that's really nice. Do I still audition? Yeah. I'll still go on to ACX. I'll see what's on there, and I will audition. Do I still do royalty share? No. I have not done royalty share in some time. Will I do it again? I don't know. Maybe. I'm still getting royalties on some of those books that I did 4 years ago. So when you do the math, I'm actually making more money now off of them than I would off of the books I'm making now. The difference is I'm getting paid over the course of 4 years as opposed to getting the paycheck up front, and I would rather have the check. So, but Stephen, I hope that answers the question. So, yeah. Yeah. Not, but I wish I had better advice for you as far as why you might not be booking. Um, Without more information, it's really tough to give. It's tough to not speak in generalities. So I would just say, again, stay patient and talk to a coach. Talk to a coach. There's a lot of them out there. You don't. I mean, hey, if you want to go through me, go through me. That's great. But yeah. So, good question though. Good question. All right, cool. Thank you so much for watching. Please, if you could take a moment, subscribe down below so you could support the channel. If you have any questions, you can absolutely reach out to me via social media at the St. Brian on both Twitter and Instagram. If you need to book me for voiceover projects, you can get me at voxbrian.com. And if you ever want to work with me for private coaching, for voiceover, to get ready for a demo, for audition help, you can reach out to Edge Studio and they can book my time for coaching purposes. So thank you so much, and thank you for the support for the channel.